One more for the fans. Woo! I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it loud. It's good to be armed, black, and proud. Oh yes. Oh yes. Thank you, Bria Miles. Should I play that one more time for the 2A community and the victory that we received? Oh man. Shout out to that. You know what? Clarence Thomas got it. Me and my boy Darren got shalom to all my Hebrews and Jewish folks. Assalamu alaikum to all the Muslims. Greetings to the Christians, to my Buddhist and toes. How are you? And to all, even the atheists. Woo! Oh my God, this is such a beautiful day. Such a beautiful day. Did y'all hear? Did y'all hear that? They struck down that bullshit. Did y'all hear? They struck down the bullshit. The bullshit, okay? They struck it down. They struck it down, baby. Y'all need to share this to all the people in the 2A community, man. You know, where's the whiz? Can you feel a brand new day? Can you feel a brand new day? I mean, you know what? Say what you want about Clarence Thomas, please don't. But he might, that man, that myth, that legend, that we know is Clarence. That dude that we know is Clarence, baby. It's amazing, man. All of America. You know, it took a black man to stand up for American rights once again. The only way you're going to stop violence is when you have law abiding citizens doing their thing. I swear to goodness, man. You got to have law abiding citizens armed and capable of protecting each other. Oh, they said play it again. Okay, one more time for the cheat sheets. See, Raven Knight, it's amazing for multiple reasons. It's amazing for multiple reasons. Not just because it's a law, it's because how many people tried to circumvent the goddamn law. It's your right as an American, either naturalized or born citizen, to have the ability to utilize firearms in sport, hunting, and defense. It's so amazing that, you know, say what you want, but Clarence Thomas earned his nigga card. That one, boy. God damn. Damn, that was such a good. Whoa, boy. Mm. See, give me a woo. Give me a woo and a two-way behind it if you support the Second Amendment, folks. Give me a woo and a two-way if you support the Second Amendment, folks. Because right now, right now, we need to make sure and tell the world and tell the goddamn politicians who believe in this gun control bullshit, we're not having it. We don't want it. We don't need it. We're not having it. We don't want it. We don't need it. We don't need it. For some odd reason, how can a bunch of people who are protected by men and women with guns tell you that you don't need guns to protect yourself? How about that one? Well, you got to realize Yahweh protects in many different forms. He can protect with his love, he can protect with his generosity, and he can protect with his blessing that's called innovation. And innovation brought the gun. And every time we think about it, it is your right by God to protect yourself, your family, your co-workers, your friends, and especially your children. So there's different ways to protection. And I'm going to read this off because I have it posted on my Facebook and my Instagram. Supreme Court strikes down New York law limiting guns in public. Washington Supreme Court on Thursday struck down a New York law that placed strict limits on carrying of guns outside of the home, saying it was at odds with the Second Amendment. The ruling was only the court's second major statement on the scope of individual constitutional right to keep and bear arms, and it's first on how the right applies to firearms in public places. The Second Amendment, Justice Clarence Thomas wrote for the majority, protects an individual's right to carry a handgun for self-defense outside the home. Mm, 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 mm. Why? Oh, why do they want to limit us carrying weapons? If you're a law-abiding citizen, what's wrong with you being able to protect those around you? What's wrong with that? By the way, you do know Biden is pissed about that, right? You know Biden is pissed. I mean, you can sell that motherfucker for $1. You can sell him for a penny, actually. He pissed. That man pissed. I don't get it. People who have no experience with firearms are telling Americans who's basically you can't protect yourselves. And then the Supreme Court said, that's not what the Constitution said. That's not what the Constitution said. I really get upset when these fake ass politicians will children allow children not to be protected sufficiently by the people who either birth them or teach them. How many times we could have prevented many of incidents, many of incidents when it comes to violence? How many people would still be alive, honest, hardworking American folk, still be alive if they had the ability to protect themselves? And this is coming from Fox News. Biden reacts to the Supreme Court gun decision, deeply disappointed. President Biden is deeply disappointed with a Supreme Court gun decision that struck down a New York law restricting access to concealed carry permits Thursday. Biden released a statement hours after the Supreme Court released its decision. The New York law have required permits applicants to provide specific reasons for needing a firearm. Yeah, like last time I checked, New York City wasn't one of those cities that, is a walk in Mayberry, is it? Since 1911, which I think is fucking ironic that they had this fucking law since 1911. And tomorrow, I think my concealed carry, just to be a dick, should be my 1911. What do you think? I think since this law was invoked in 1911, I'm going to wear my 1911 just to be a dickhead. Woo! Since 1911, the state of New York has required individuals who would like to carry a concealed weapon in public to show a need to do so for the purpose of self-defense and acquire a license, Biden wrote. More than a century later, the United States Supreme Court has chosen to strike down New York's long established authority to protect its citizens. Really? Really, bruh? Really, bruh? Really? I urge states to continue to enact and enforce common sense laws to make their citizens and communities safer from gun violence, he added. Biden's statements came minutes after the Democratic New York governor, Kathy, whatever the hell her last name is, also condemned the ruling, calling it a dark day for New York. The New York governor stated that the United States only had access to muskets when the Second Amendment was written, and that she was prepared to go back to muskets through the gun restrictions. Really? 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 See, how the fuck do these idiots get voted in? Honestly, how the fuck do these idiots get voted in? Let me put it to you this way, right? We were on horse and buggy when the Second Amendment was written. Do we go back when it comes to technology, or do we go forward? So, with her logic, right? When she said when the Second Amendment was written, we only had access to muskets, and she's prepared to go back to muskets through gun restriction. That's the equivalent of saying when the Second Amendment was written, slavery was legal, and I'm prepared to go back to slavery with freedom restrictions. Make that shit make sense, please. That's bullshit. That's basically, you're saying that we should go back to the same laws that we had, or the same technology or the same logic we had back when the Second Amendment was written. So black people should be enslaved. Women should not have the right to vote. We shouldn't drive cars. See, this is the reason why y'all really need to get politicians, and especially politicians who actually served in the military, police department, fire department, who actually were public fucking servants before they took these cushy ass political jobs. Because if you notice, those people actually know what's going on in the fucking real world. Continuing, the case New York State Rifle and Pistol Association Incorporated versus Bruin was the first major Second Amendment case to come before the Supreme Court in more than a decade. New York's law required a person to show proper cause before being able to obtain concealed carry license. The proper cause standard allowed the state officials to determine whether applicants had supplied a specific reason for needing a firearm, denying access to people who stated they simply want to protect themselves. Wow, right? Wow, right? So, not protecting yourself is not a good enough reason. I'm going to read that paragraph again, that little section again. The proper cause standard allowed state officials to determine whether applicants had supplied a specific reason for needing a firearm, denying access to people who stated they simply wanted to protect themselves. This is an elected official in the United States. I keep saying this. A lot of people really want to create victims. In this case, petitioners and respondents agree that ordinary law-abiding citizens have a similar right to carry handguns publicly for their self-defense. We too agree and now hold consistent with Hellener and McDonald that the Second and 14th Amendment protects individual rights to carry a handgun for self-defense outside the home. Justice Clarence Thomas wrote in his court opinion, because the state of New York issue public carry licenses only when an applicant demonstrates a special need for self-defense, we conclude that the state licensing regime violates the Constitution. Mm-mm-mm. The gun rights case is among more than a dozen rulings of SCOTUS, which is the Supreme Court of the United States, is scheduled to hand down Thursday and Friday. Among them is Dobbs versus Jackson, an abortion case in which is expected to overturn Roe v. Wade. Oh, oh, you do know, it's going to be like that old club mix, back in the day. Get busy, huh? What? Get busy, huh? What? The Supreme Court is getting busy. It's getting busy. You literally have people who are elected officials who believe that you should not have a right to protect yourself. But these are the same motherfuckers who will come out These are the same motherfuckers who will come out and make a bill for a damn animal to be protected, but not a human being. These are the same people who will tell you as a black person that if black people get more guns or buy more guns, watch them change the gun laws. See, gone are the days we live in fear. Gone are the days that we live as victims. Gone are the days we live as helpless men and women. Now come the days where we take responsibility, accountability back to the people. You don't tell brave men and women what to do when they're doing brave acts. You cannot tell any American how to worship God how they see fit if they believe that there's a higher being in the first place. So, how the hell do you have the right to tell a human being how they should protect their mortal life? You're right, Raven Knight. Some folks give a damn about an animal more than the rights of a black man. Make it make sense. Or as I commonly say, no sense does it ever make. Here it is, right? We live in a country where 10% of black boys can read on level when they reach the 8th grade, but nobody seems to give a fuck. Nobody seems to care. But we'll make bills about lies such as Asian hate. You pay your extortion, I mean taxes. Are you getting what you pay for? You paid your protection money. You paid your extortion every year you file. But yet, when it comes back to say, hey, I live in Baltimore, I live in LA, I live in New York, I live in Richmond, I live in St. Louis, I live in New Orleans, I live in Dade County, Miami, I live in Jacksonville, I live in Greensboro, I live in this place, that place, every place. I live in Atlantic City. I do not deserve to protect myself and my family in a way I see fit. Oh, you don't need an AR-15. They're a weapon of war. Um, the next time I see a politician say that shit, I want to personally ask them, so what war did you go to and when did we start using AR-15s in war? Because as a war vet, we didn't use AR-15s. We had M16s and M4s and M9s, and sometimes in some groups, 1911s. We had 50 caliber. We had 50 cal machine guns. We had Mark 19s. We had M249s and M240s. We had M60s. We had tanks. We don't use AR-15s in war. Why is it that the most informed, the most idiotic, the most ignorant to the subject always got to speak? And you're talking to a guy who's been a police officer for a long time. I'm 40 and I've been holding a gun for God and country since 17 in some fashion. If I wore the green uniform or if I wore the blue one. You'll never see Officer Faulkner up there on any committee saying, look, anywhere you have people sufficiently armed, notice the crime rate, the violence rate goes significantly down. One, these gun laws that you invoked, such as the Mumford Act, were based on bullshit. And yes, they were racist. How is it that you in the state of Maryland for the longest time you had to be former or current law enforcement, carrying large amounts of currency or money, armed security, a business owner? So we're penalizing the poor for being poor. The people who have to walk and be on the bus and have to go through probably some of the roughest neighborhoods in the fucking country have to suffer because of your illusion, your ignorance. Shout out to the snowman for this, for the cash app. Excuse me, for the super chat. I gotta support my man. Don't worry. When this check clears, I got you, buddy. He says, and he stated, as my hero George Carlin said, best, the old American double standards say, one thing to do something, excuse me, one thing to do something different from a cancer survivor deny benefits. Get the fuck out of here. That shit boils my blood every time I hear you say that. Think about it. I got to go for my interview tomorrow for my VA benefits. Hopefully things will go smoothly. But think about it. The people who give the most in this society always come back with the least. Shout out to the Isley brothers. You know, harvest for the world. By the way, think about this, right? Think about this. These people were hell bent. Instead of defending the Second Amendment, they wanted to circumvent it. See, as a service member and as a police officer, I took an oath to defend the Constitution from enemies, both foreign and domestic. I'm going to say that shit again. I took an oath to defend against the enemies of the Constitution and the United States, both foreign and domestic. And sometimes the enemies of the country and the people don't even have to pick up firearms to prove to you that they're against you. You have most of these democratic cities, if not all of them, they're rat infested, drug infested, crime infested, violence infested, broken homes, single motherhood. See, like I told my boy Darren, you still in the chat? Say something. Like I told my boy Darren, black men have always been pretty fucking conservative as it is. We believe in strong families. We believe in a man earns his living. The majority of us, anyway. We believe in the man is the king of the castle and responsible for the family. We believe in this stuff. Why do you think we're so staunch being in our children's lives? Why do you think we're so staunch into giving back to the community? If that's not conservative, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. Why? Oh, why are these people that we put in these elected positions, these elected officials, are so staunch in subjugating and circumventing your God given rights? Shout out to Mac Bones File. The Democrats are against straight heterosexual black men, traditional black families, and traditional black family values. Facts. See, black men never needed the Republican Party to be conservative. Hell, even to just be moderate. And think about it. It took a black man, Clarence Thomas, to say no. These people have a God given right to protect themselves like anybody else. Shout out to my boy Perez, who I went to Iraq with. We had a little bit of a debate. Well, you don't need AR-15s to protect people, but Perez, he lives in Texas. I'm different because if you would have people who are police or armed guards with AR-15s and Uvalde, that situation would have been completely different. Because if you need to talk, because right now people don't understand what the force continuum is. You meet force with force. You go one above their force. If a guy's trying to fight you with his fist, you hit him with a taser, a nightstick, or pepper spray. If a guy comes at you with a bat or knife, you pull out your weapon. You pull out a gun. If he meets you with a gun, obviously you better have yours out too. So how the hell can you justifiably say that, hey, you don't need to actually use a gun to protect yourselves? We'll do it for you. Let's look at the examples of that. Really? You had that one sleazy bastard in Buffalo who drove 3 hours to Buffalo in that exact same spot because he knew what the gun laws were about. He planned it out. It was premeditated. Which was very premeditated. Craig Harper said black men's papers come off the union we fought to get in, which is half the reason why black men are conservative. Yeah, we didn't beg for rights. We earned them. We earned them through combat. See, I really say that black men, we got to take over these positions when it comes to fire, police, military, private security. We need to take them over because it's about damn time that we actually have to start demanding what we're owed. And we need to do it with a large enough voice in unison. Think about that. How many hardworking black men and black women were denied the ability to protect themselves when they're working late at night? Well, we're gonna circumvent the law to see if we gonna have people carry guns on the subway and bus. Didn't you just have a month ago a motherfucker shoot up a fucking train? Every time they give a stupid reason why people should not carry guns, guess what? You know what keeps the psychopaths and the criminals with firearms in check? The people who have the firearms who are good law-abiding citizens. They keep them in check. If that one person with a gun pulls up and starts shooting, it should be 5 to 10 to 15 motherfuckers airing his ass out. But by their logic, we should just cower and play victim and also have target practice upon our families and wait for the police. Make that make sense. That is disturbing logic. While somebody's whooping your ass, somebody call the police. It's no different than that black guy who was in that Dollar Tree and that big fat ass light skinned chick was whooping his ass and pulling his hair. And they're like, don't hit her. No, you have all right to hit somebody when they assault you. You meet force with force. Guess what? I don't give a fuck that she was a woman. I wouldn't give a fuck if it was a man doing it. You have a right to defend yourself. If she's big enough to hit you, she's big enough to get laid the fuck out. And that's the logic that black men have been given for over 100 years. Not even just black men, just stupidity. In a lot of these cities where you have mass amounts of murders each year, you're basically handcuffing masculinity and protection. You you keep making these arguments. Why aren't we protected? How the fuck can we properly protect you if we don't have the tools to do so? How do you say we want to keep the streets safer, but you disarm the citizens and the criminals run buck wild? When I first joined the Baltimore Police Department in '07, they had over what? 3,500, 32 to 3,500 sworn officers, not counting the civilian workers. Now, in 2022, do you know that they lost 1,000 officers and they have yet to replenish that amount? So when you have less police, that means you're going to have longer response times. Craig Harper says, I dated a lawyer. She said, babe, you know the Democrats are for the union. I said, babe, how? When Democrats stand with immigration. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Men, women, we are going to have common sense solutions when it comes to protection and taking back our communities. Brick by brick, street by street, community by community. How many times you live in the goddamn hood and I just told you a goddamn story of what happened to me last week. When I'm going down Preston Street in Milton at a four-way stop, and some young guy who's anywhere from 17 to 20 letting off shots right before I was about to go cross that four-way stop. And the guy on a scooter returning fire. We literally got older people afraid to even leave their homes because they're scared, because they're not protected. You got children who got to walk through these fucking crime-infested streets Who's protecting them? I don't want to hear, I dare some liberal motherfucker come up here and tell me something different. I dare you. When people talk about conservatism, guess what? No Republican has more conservative ways and views than a black man. We are not the ones voting for gun control. We're the ones who says, give us the control of the gun. We will protect our communities. Raven Knight said, in the 90s, Charles, we not only counted graduating, but also counted our birthdays, hoping to make it to be an adult. Facts. Companies hire illegals with the sole purpose of using them to vote out the union and create sweatshops. The owners of these plants are liberal. You damn right. When you take in all this immigration shit, a lot of people don't realize this. You're taking jobs away from a lot of blacks. And that's not even hatred to anybody. And yes, Charles Faulkner will become an official sponsor of the Snowman in the Morning. We are working on that as right now. Please, by the way, please subscribe to the Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. You're going to get the greatest, the latest sports talk, men's rights talk with the Snowman and his partner, Cole Johnson. Because as brothers, we need to support other brothers. For some odd reason, with my 40 years being a natural born Baltimorean, I've always questioned this. What sense does it make to create victims? Hey, give my man Mr. Washington some subs too. I'm not a greedy man. Everybody grow. Everybody grow. Everybody grows. Because I'm going to open up this panel very, very soon. And I need a bunch of two-way brothers. I even take the liberals to see why you think this is a bad idea for people getting gun permits around the country. Do you believe that every human being should have the right to protect themselves against foreign and domestic tyranny? I want to examine that. I really do. Think about it. You got so many people out there trying to make an honest living. Was trying to make an honest damn living. And they get accosted by some ne'er-do-wells on their journey back home to their families? Make that shit make sense. Really? Really? I'm about to put the link in the damn chat, man. Because this is a very big win. A very huge win. For not just two-way rights, but American rights, and especially for black men to get back into protecting ourselves and our families. I'm back. Link is in the chat for anybody who wants to join the discussion. Link is in the chat for anybody who wants to join. Thank you again, Snowman, for the support. Black Line is now an official sponsor of the Snowman in the Morning. Let's make it official. Oh, yeah, we're working on it. We're working on it, baby. We are definitely working on it. Everybody's favorite mother trucker, AL Evans. How you doing, AL?
Long live the Second Amendment, sir.
Shout out to Judah Blues. Woo!
And it's official. I no longer support liberals.
You can't. They've shown their hand. They've shown that they don't give a fuck about you, and it's brutal. It's brutal. You don't stop them. I want you to. You're a Texan, born and raised, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
What sense does it make for a person not having the ability to protect themselves?
I really wouldn't know how to answer that, seeing as how I live in a state where we're allowed to protect ourselves. And guess what? Other than this latest bullshit in reality, see, you had a whole fucked up scenario that happened there. But other than that, on the street, city to city, town to town in this state, yeah, you try it if you want to. Because 9 times out of 10, 9 of them folks own a gun. So ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. That's why the crime is low there. It was hard. It was hard when they wouldn't allow us. But once we got the right, now that's the only thing about the handicapped governor. Yeah, he did it. He passed it. Yeah, that's about the only thing I agree with him with. But other than that, our handicapped governor, he's full of shit. But on that, the second, and I like the open carry. Oh yeah, I'm totally down with that. Because guess what? You see a dude walking down the street and he got his firearm on his hip. You know that man is carrying. I'm not gonna fuck with him. And if he see you got a firearm on your hip, that man's carrying. I'm not gonna fuck with you. That's how we roll in Texas. Give him a head nod and keep him moving. Now, if you feel lucky, go ahead. It's just gonna be one of them wild west shootouts that's gonna go there. And guess what? Everybody's brave when they think they the only one with the gun in their hand. But when they see somebody else with the gun in their hand, it makes them walk a little bit tighter, ass tighten up. You know, I got to tread lightly around here. It's because it's the rules of the old Wild West. You know,
Oh, sorry. Too much Clint Eastwood for everybody?
Come here like a goddamn spaghetti western, I see.
Well, of course, you had an Italian director, so it is a goddamn spaghetti western. But I guess I'm just gonna make AL Evans' day because you know, like I remember what this the cat at BGS mentions, Mr. What's his name? The junior analyst who used to live in Houston. I forgot his name all of a sudden. The one who had the book Hydra and stuff. He talked about when he was growing up in Houston. No, Craig B. Hewlett. Craig B. Hewlett was his name. He talked about growing up in Houston. Everybody had a pistol within reach whenever they were driving the highways of Houston because it was easy for somebody to flip somebody off and that shit would just blow out, just escalate. Everybody be brandishing weapons and shit. So. That was your shit. Hold on a second. Hang on. Now I gotta go Dirty Harry on you, Charles. I just gotta look at you guys. You feeling lucky? Motherfucker? Huh? But yeah, I mean, you guys talk about massacres and shit. I remember. Oh, it was good, Biggs. How you been?
I'm good, man. Hope everybody's safe and feeling good.
I'm alright. But then again, I'll tell you something. You know, you want to talk about massacres and shit. I remember what happened like back in 2011 in July. Like next month it's gonna be like the 11th anniversary of that shit. But more recently, like last year. Thank you. Oh man.
Hey Craig, hey Craig, go back down and come back up, and I'll bring you up because it's not letting me bring you in because of your camera or something. So go down and come back up.
Yeah.
We got Biggs up here.
I don't mean to bag on Justice Thomas, but I guess we can say he finally put down the magazine and was paying attention. Am I wrong to say that? I haven't forgotten about Anita Hill and that debacle.
Oh yeah, and you got to think about it. You know, have you ever noticed in history, every time a black man gets into a position of power, they always somehow, some way, they could throw some chick at his face. And a lot of times,
you ever consider he's compromised sometimes?
And sometimes there could be no evidence at all being stated. Like, I just want to know when he even talked about the racism that was prevalent in the United States government and still is.
Mm-hmm.
Why is Biden so pissed about this? Oh, because he has a history of making laws that circumvent black men and black families.
Been doing it for a long time, Charles. A long time.
Very long time.
And the sad part about it is, it's very hard for a person to listen to a man who's protected 24/7 by men with guns that I can't even get one and carry it. For some odd reason, they think this is going to happen when you have citizens protecting themselves.
Yeah. Taking the field.
Like we're gonna
composers know how to make a spaghetti western sound riveting, don't they?
Yeah, they
know how to make it sound.
And for some reason,
I gotta say this. Signora, maestro. Grazie mia. Anyway, as you were saying. Charles, you can continue. Sorry about that.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny. Even though that song do kind of jump a little bit though. So, Biggs, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Give me about like 10 minutes, bro. I'm gonna hop on and engage in conversation.
All right. So, Namer, let me get. Even though you're not EOS and you live in Europe, what do you think about this bill that's been this law that's been struck down since 1911? What's your perspective on it?
Give me the gist on it first of all. What exactly is this law about?
basically they made a law where you needed a proper cause to get a gun permit, and you couldn't even use to protect myself to get it in New York. So you had to have a sufficient good enough cause where the officials could say nay or yay for this gun permit in New York. And by the way,
Personal safety doesn't count.
huh?
I mean, first of all, who wrote this, and how many lawyers have learned to circumvent around this? Because if I'm not mistaken, a certain shock jock who was a associate Patrice O'Neill, when he wanted to apply for a carry conceal before this law passed or whatever, he didn't do any of the talking. He left it to the lawyer to do all the talking. He just made sure to provide all the evidence he needed to prove his case. I mean, if you're not carrying the gun for your own personal safety, then that means you're using it for something else. And you understand that a lot of officers, they see armed citizens, they're going to be, there's going to be issues about probable cause, whether or not that civilian in question has the permits and everything's in order. So for politicians to do that, you're trying to, unless of course they don't want, they're looking at it in a very negative aspect, like they're looking at it like as if somebody might actually just use their weapon and just target somebody illegally for premeditation. I'm like, no. If you're gonna carry, you should be carrying it for your own personal safety. But I understand that not a lot of people can. There should be some like certain standards for it. You know what I'm saying?
And there are standards, but guess what they don't do? They
and how well scrutinized are these people? Background checks. Also train these people, certify them.
And this is the fact of the matter. You have to go through training. You have to go shoot. You have to go through the background check. You have to get your fingerprints. And it's funny. They, instead of actually enforcing the books that's already the laws on the books, this is what they do. They make more stringent, unconstitutional, illegal laws in place to restrict gun ownership. So what happens is,
what is the objective is the question. What is the point of them putting these restrictions? You got to be asking. Why isn't anybody scrutinized, even looking at the paperwork and saying, or looking at the details of these legislations and saying, what exactly is being said? Because the wording, it can be misleading. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what legalese is all about. Oh my God, I want to bring Craig Harper up so badly, but it's check your camera. Make sure your camera's straight, because that's the thing that's keeping you from being pulled up here. I'm trying my best.
Charles, I'll give you an example of my situation up here. Only two ways I can legally have a firearm. Either for sport or for hunting. And even then I have to have, some of the people I know who are hunters, and when they passed the laws here, they had law enforcement, government, and these specific chapters of hunters and gun club owners associations had to hash out the details on that one. They all had to work with one another because unions are powerful up here.
And so you gotta understand.
So the only way I can, if I want a gun, if I gotta get a gun, either I have to be a licensed hunter, that means rifles, and I gotta prove that I have those safely contained where it needs to be, or I'm a member of a gun club, which means there's a lot of responsibility on me to make sure the weapon is always secure and safe and out of sight. Even like say, and even the hunters or gun club owners, when they're taking their weapon to and from wherever they're going, they have to make sure that the firing needle is not in the weapon itself. It has to be taken out and put in a separate compartment in that container, whether it's a safety box or a case or whatever. The firing needle should never be inside. It should not be in place. It has to be removed and in a separate compartment within whatever you're using to contain the rifle in.
And see, in America, we roll a little different. The reason why a lot of politicians don't want the citizens to have firearms is because when you take When you take firearms away from citizens, you make them subjects, and they become subjected to your rule. There's a reason
Hold on, you
why.
broke it, Charles.
I said the reason why the
Mm-hmm.
the anti-gunners want guns away from people is because when you take guns away from people, they're no longer citizens; they're subjects. They're subjected to any try to treatment and rule that you want.
Hello.
Welcome
And
to the third world.
and see, people forget what Nazi Germany and Hitler did first. They started by doing what?
Chile,
They started
under
with
Pinochet,
guns.
other
Then
groups.
they did propaganda, and once they were demonized, and people hated them, and they spread every lie that they
Mm-hmm.
could. They
Mm-hmm.
made it so easy to think about this. Do you think the Holocaust would have happened if the Jews were armed?
Hell no. But then again, the Jews were always knew that they could never arm themselves because anytime you try to protect yourself, if Jews try to defend themselves, that gave that other community the opportunity to commit what was called the pogrom. You see, the Holocaust is a culmination of something called the pogrom, which was basically what you guys had during the race riots in the 1910s and 20s. Or instead of instead of white people going to black neighborhoods, they were going to Jewish neighborhoods, ransacking, destroying, killing everything, and the authorities were in on it.
Yep.
Jews would tell you, yeah, we should have been armed, but they knew the dangers. They knew if they tried to fight back, that gave the other groups an opportunity to attack them. Pogroms were a frequent thing that would happen every so often, whether throughout Eastern Europe, especially in the Russian Empire.
I'm gonna tell you. Every
Mm,
time, do you know how many times black people had to come to arms just to keep their property? Just
I
from
can imagine.
just from the Klan alone?
Mm-hmm.
What if the people of Tulsa were sufficiently armed?
How
Most of
about
them were
the
World War One veterans.
yes, sir. All that.
You also
All
had
that
you had
bullshit.
a similar situation. I think it was in North Carolina, and if I'm not mistaken, also in
Rosewood.
what's the name? There was a movie based on this place, Roseville, I think it was called, down in Florida.
Rosewood. Rosewood.
Rosewood, Rosewood, Florida. Because remember, Ving Rhames' character was a drifter who was a World War One veteran.
Think about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you had the Mumford Act in California that banned open carry because and basically it was for the Black Panthers protesting against it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how powerful of an image it is to see a black man armed, able to defend himself?
Yeah, it's super powerful, but it's a whole nother level of power for people who control like the laws and things like that. For
And
us doing it like in a legal way. You
and
understand what I'm saying? Like it was something me and you talked offline, see, about that interview. What was it, the View or something like that,
yeah, it
or
was
whatever. When
you.
that white chick, older white chick, had said something about like when we, meaning black people, you see what I'm saying, like get legally, in the 2A game, which we already have established our foundation. But this day and time, that's when laws will change. So we just got blessed. I'm sorry, fellas, or whatnot. I was chilling with my old lady just to give y'all the quick background. I was listening, not listening, chilling with my old lady. But y'all might have already went over this. But today is a fucking good day to be 2A, fellas. It's a
Oh
great
yeah,
fucking day to be 2A. But back to my point, it's like the new, not new, but the people currently that's in office, like, see that when we start to gather our groups, the naggers and BG, you know what I mean, OA, you know what I mean, or whatnot, just like literally good citizens, African American citizens, supporting the two-way amendment. Like, come on, the two-way right, not amendment, but the two-way right. It's scary to those because when it was originally written, it wasn't written for us. Point blank, per.
It's just like the governor of New York said. Well, when the Second Amendment was written, they only had access to muskets, and I'm willing to go back to muskets. So, with her knowledge, when the Second Amendment was written, weren't black people
Yes,
slaves?
are you for real?
Weren't black people slaves? So you're saying with that logic, well, the 14th Amendment, you know, like the 14th and 13th Amendments, they weren't written, so why not go back to slavery?
They would have never thought a third of a person would have been able to be as equal as what it was when it was written.
And see, here's the problem. It's cool and okay to make us out to be the thug. It's cool and okay to have your mother and your father driving, walking, catching a bus, and doing whatever the hell they want. And they gotta walk through these fucking neighborhoods, which a lot, let's just say it, these Democrats fucked up with their fucking laws and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't even walk down the street, minding your own business, and somebody tries to accost you, attack you, assault you, and you can't properly defend yourself.
It's that image they use up here in Europe. The black man being the boogeyman or brown man being the boogeyman to stoke up anti-immigration sentiments because they say like we're the ones responsible for crime and everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, Charles? Let me tell you something. This is something I've always wanted to say. I've always wanted to get into a conversation with somebody who was like pro-Second Amendment, like a Republican, like a Higgins said, and I would put this thought in his head, like he says, like I'm pro-life and I'm also pro-Second Amendment. I said, well, I can see that, but you know who else is who's pro-Second Amendment, and would love to, and who's into carry conceal all guns? Who's into carry conceal rights? They look at me like who? I just tell them people who work at abortion clinics because they understand that what they're doing, where they work at, the hazard is some nut job's going to come in and try to shoot up or try to blow up the place, or you're going to have certain pro-life nutcases trying to follow them, try to dox them, trying to harm the families, so they need to protect themselves. Or somebody might try to target their kids at their school, so they need to make sure nobody's fucking with them.
That is a different POV that I never thought about. I thought about it from just my POV, but that is a very honest argument that you and the 2A community could state, you know what I mean, and say or whatnot. Just
And
being
I'm
able.
not even of you guys, and I see this from the outside in, Biz.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, I love it when you go like I think it's funny, but I appreciate when sometimes you guys say for real about a lot of things. So I really appreciate that, man, for real.
It's
That's your trademark.
I'm just genuine, but go ahead.
It's a Baltimorean thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. I think it's because he comes from an honest place when he says that. So I appreciate that.
And you gotta
Like a
look.
trademark.
You gotta look at it like this. As a soldier and as a police officer, I've spent many years, you might as well say decades now, protecting the rights, even if I don't agree with what your statements are. And we gotta remember, what one right is another right that has to be shared through all.
Mhm.
And a lot of people get into this frenzy when I said, hey, where was when this Mr. Castile,
Mm.
Brando Castile,
Talk your talk, please.
where the fuck was the NRA?
So that part, see, my fault. They call you Officer Faulkner. The
I
brother
don't care.
that just
Call me
had
what you
the brother that just had spoke in regards to I didn't get your name, brother, but
name.
who was naming the
Neymar.
Name.
name?
Neymar.
My bad, bro. Namer was just speaking on in regards from the POV from a person,
Mm-hmm.
who, does that. You see what I'm saying? And need to feel protected. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not taking up for the NRA. I might get slashed in the comments or whatever, but everybody who listening on the panel, whoever listening, no, I don't give a fuck. I just signed up because I'm trying to get certified. But besides that,
Not cool.
point,
50
right?
piece, bro. 50.
My point is the fact of like I'm trying to, and Charles has a very dope platform to be able to elaborate from the POV. The NRA, right? I'm not trying to get off the
Mm-hmm.
subject, but the NRA, just me from my lens, is more a political type of thing. And the way that is broadcasted or advertised is every scenario the NRA is going to show up and be there and be supportive. Yes, they should have been there to be supportive for our brother. God rest his soul. You see what I'm saying? Fidel, somebody help me out with this last thing because I don't want to butcher the dead. Oh, but not.
Castile.
Orlando
Thank
Castillo.
thank you. Oh, but not. You see what I'm saying? Like for real, for real. But that, just being super honest, that shit ain't on their radar. Not trying to say that man is shit or anything. You see what I'm saying? Like that, they have a bigger agenda, a bigger goal. You understand what I'm saying about how they advertise, as if everything that happens, like when they shot that black boy down, I think it was in Georgia, who was just jogging, and the white motherfuckers, you see what I'm saying, ran down on him. They may have showed
Yeah.
up in that instance. You understand what I'm saying, like for real, or whatnot. So
Yeah.
it's all of the lens. You understand what I'm saying? In the spin, in the media, in this and that. You understand what I'm saying? Like, before I shut up,
Hey, big.
I want everybody,
Big.
and I'm not a member yet, I want everybody to join NAGA. Whether you black, white, green, Mexican, a fucking asshole from goddamn planet
Mm-hmm.
Mars. Sign up for NAGA so that
Mm-hmm.
we can be as strong as the NRA to
Hey,
support
big.
our people. Please.
Hey, big. Let me
Yes,
put
sir.
it this way
Please.
regarding black men and the Second Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
It is, they don't look at it this way. When you look at living in a world of white supremacy, they want the Second Amendment, in fact, all the amendments in the Constitution to be part of white privilege. Because if you ask white, are you pro Second Amendment? Would you then just look at them and say, would you be willing to stand up for my right to arm myself under the Second Amendment? And watch them to start backpedaling. Watch them just have that deer in the headlight look. Because when you ask certain people about the Second Amendment, some of them act like it's a privilege, not a right, and they think it's exclusive to only certain people. So yeah, I mean that's why you have groups like NAGA, NAAGA, which is the black equivalent to, well, they're not exactly the black equivalent to the NRA, but it's black people organizing, talking about being pro Second Amendment and knowing the importance of black people being trained, being certified, and understanding firearms and everything.
Right.
I mean, in black, you got black owned gun stores, and black people are certified to train people in firearms.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm gonna be
And
next
they
month.
need the support. They need y'all to support them as well.
Exactly. And I honestly agree with you, brother. And the piggyback, so I being super clear, I've joined something along with NRA locally. It's
Mm-hmm.
Maryland shall issue. Is a bunch of us. It's a crayon box. It's a whole Crayola box that is just 2A. You understand what I'm saying or whatnot. So you
Mm-hmm.
can. I don't just. I'm not pro. Oh, just black 2A. I'm 2A all the way. Like you understand what I'm saying. But I'm
Yeah.
definitely adamant about the black 2A. You understand what I'm saying or whatnot? Like I'm not
Yeah.
one
I see.
of like the white man and da 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 da. I can start a whole nother podcast. You understand of why I don't feel that way. You understand what I'm saying? But if people don't know and I'm pushing, that advertisement for free because that's what we should do, for us, people of color. You understand? Get it out there. If it intrigues and they go research and they find out what the hell I'm talking about. But 2A is 2A, bro. And most white, black, Chinese, anybody that's in the 2A community is no color. It is just the perfect of our fucking rights. You understand? The second
Yeah.
fucking amendment. Period. It if that was that, and it may seem strange because we're brought over as a third of a person. We all understand our history. You understand what I'm saying? Like in America, you understand what I'm saying?
True. Mm-hmm.
Once it was before we were blessed with Juneteenth on a staple, a rubber stamp type of level, the government acknowledged that. You understand what I'm saying? Or what? I'm not going to go down to history because we all understand why we got that. And before that, you know what I mean? Our purchase, we, the motherfuckers that established America. Period. Point blank, period. What I'm getting at is we got to stop this, oh, uh, the white man, this, and the third. And I said I wasn't going to get into it. Right now, it's all about who you control. And how you control is money. Money, 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 money. Money control politics, money control policies, money control every single thing that we got going on. Period. I hope I didn't go super
You gotta
loud.
follow the money, basically.
Cut the double back. Today is a good day to be 2A. And I'm going to mute myself.
Mm. Hey, AL. AL, you still there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not big. I didn't say big. I said AL.
All right, my bad.
AL Evans.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I gotta ask you a question, big man. You know, as the most senior of all of us, what has been the hard, as a trucker, what has been the roughest roads you ever been on? What I mean, roads where you had to have your whatchamacallit just out ready just in case someone was about to jump off.
Jericho in between Kentucky and Tennessee. The 12 mile stretch is murder. Going up or down.
So pretty much, you just had to have your gun and your head on a swivel and your gun in hand.
Oh, I thought you were talking about road. I thought you were talking about roads. You talking about towns to be in?
No, no, that's what I meant, Charles. That's what I meant because I was talking about
Alabama.
The worst roads he's ever driven. Hold on.
Alabama.
Hold on. Let me explain to Charles what I'm trying to ask him. What I was asking him. What I mean, Charles, is like, what are the roughest roads he's had to drive through? Where he's had to have the safety off just in case, because he knew that at any moment things could jump off, and he had to be prepared.
Oh, okay. I ain't gonna do so much do roads. I'm gonna do states: Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, and Indiana. Indiana top on the list.
All right, fair point. And you knew you had to have that on you just in case shit was about to, go off, because you never knew what could happen.
Well, at the time when I first started, I was playing by the I wasn't carrying no steel, piece of steel. I was carrying an axe handle. And then when I realized too, everybody else ain't playing fair, I got hit to the game. Because by law, federal law states truckers can't have a firearm or a long rifle or a shotgun in their cab. Truckers are actually the most unprotected group of contractors and employees in the world. We got to go state to state. Officers are allowed to protect us after the fact.
Thank you for explaining that to me, EAL. Cause man, you guys don't get enough credit. Truckers don't get enough support, don't get enough credit, and they realize what they have to do. Hell, just like Ric Flair's the dirtiest player in the game, he always said, I don't just come to play, I came to win. That's why he's the dirtiest player in the game. Woo!
Hats off to the brother that's a trucker. Thank you, my brother. And along with your fellow truckers. Because that's the shit that make, everything shit.
You got to think about it. Shit, if I had to drive them roads, I'd have had a boomstick, a fucking AR-15, and a 45 on me at all times.
But I have a question, like, for truckers, actually. Oh, my God. Like, can you, like, kind of LLC it, like a business owner as a trucker, since you guys are coming in as independent contractors for, say, Walmart or Target or so on and so forth? Is that a thing in the trucker world?
Yes, it is, and that's one thing I regret. I should have done it when I had the chance. I just, at the time, dealing, getting the LLCs, it costs. If you're not prepared to pay, and I started my business from dirt, from scratch, with just the help of my grandmother, and I refused to pay her any more debt than I needed to get the cut.
Trash.
Everything else was just get it out the mud. I paid
That-
I paid a truck off I paid a truck off on a 3-year note in a year and 2 months. That's how dedicated I was to getting it over.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm gonna tell everybody this shit, man. Especially you you all who live in those fucking half baked, still forget the Confederacy lost type of towns. Y'all better get your protection. Hell, just as much as people in the urban environment need their protection. Because darn, we known each other for goddamn almost 30 years, and we had to run to the bus on many occasions. Like you, Baltimore living these Baltimore strange things,
Yeah,
and
fight or flight sometimes. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
because guess what? If you could pull out your, if a guy pulls a knife or gun on you, and all you could go in your pocket is pull out some skin, you're at a severe disadvantage. And
And how
now,
many people understand CQC, first of all?
I
Or
mean,
Krav Maga, stuff like that. Nobody's teaching the kids that.
you gotta realize something. Because a lot of fathers are not at their homes, a lot of these boys are afraid to take ass whoopings.
Yep.
So a lot of this shit that comes up because of violence is because, unfortunately, when you don't have a father who's the natural disciplinarian in that home, 9 times out of 10, that boy is gonna act a fucking fool.
Yeah, which is true.
Yep.
But we also have, I'm going to say, a bluff wild card. We could have a father or structure at home, but we have to integrate the world. I'm going to say, especially for our boys. We like how me and you met, Charles. You were yourself. You understand what I'm saying? Like we grew up in our atmosphere as well as though it was get down or lay down or whatnot. Just straight up for real, like straight up, like for real. Like so, when it come down to it, that's exactly how me and you click. But a lot of our boys will shed away, or you know what I mean, not even engage with a person like you or myself or our circle. You understand what I'm saying? Because niggas is clowns and so on and so forth or whatever. Like for real, I think if we have a real sound foundation of, and I think
The
we're
word,
getting
the phrase you
to
looking
that.
for is rite of passage.
Yes, thank you. Right, exactly. The youth with a rite of passage. You understand what I'm saying? That's how we could. I ain't gonna say change the world, but Tupac sparked the brain to change the fucking world. You understand what I'm saying? Like for real, for real.
Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you gotta change the world because here it is. What's the old saying name you always say that the old men plant trees to the shade they will never know? And
Old men plant trees whose shade they will never sit under because they're thinking 10 steps ahead for the next generation.
yeah, and
I mean,
there's
not
time.
only do they plant the tree, not only do they plant the trees, they teach it. They take the young kids, whether it's their sons, with their sons or grandsons. They say, "Come here," and they're showing them how to plant the trees, how to take care of the trees, because they are preparing them for the next phase.
Because a lot of times, look at what's happening in this country now. So many boys are taught to be effeminate. So many boys are
So many
scared
boys have been
of masculine.
hamstrung.
Huh?
So many boys have been hamstrung, chemically castrated. I
Oh
mean, I
yeah,
mean, you've had.
mentally
I
kept.
mean, what do you think you've had? What do you think you've had? So many young men who've been wrongfully diagnosed with ADHD or ADD.
That is pretty much the same syndrome of the brain fuck that we had when I'm gonna go out on a limb and correct me if I'm wrong, of like how our ancestors
I'll be right
was
back.
slaves. Like you see what I'm saying? Like we didn't think that we could be empowered or be, you see what I'm saying, us, you know what I mean, to our fullest capability. But fast forward to the youth kind of have a hint of our history, but they understand like what it takes to be successful. You understand what I'm saying? Like meaning being CEOs or bosses and this, and you know what I mean, so on and that. Like we have to get them educated to understand one, where we come from, to give them the strength of understanding of why they feel the entitlement of, yes, we are kings, we are bosses, you know what I mean, of whatever the lingo is. You understand what I'm saying? Like for real. But it has never been that gap that has been bridged to give us the sense of power. Like it's Jewish community, it's Chinatown, it's this. You know what I mean? You hire a Jew lawyer. You understand what I'm saying? Like us, all we know is crabs in a barrel, Baltimore way. You dig what I'm saying? Like for real, and not just the Baltimore way, because that's just all been what it was. I just can identify because I live in Baltimore. You dig what I'm saying? But just our whole entire race is the, yeah, fuck that person. I'm a, do what I need to do to capitalize. We gotta start to learn to be able to not use like as and get over on one another, but use each other to build more concrete, like Black Wall Street. You know what I mean? But they burnt down many years ago. Like for real, for real. We need to come together, like for real. And that's just it. And what my brother is doing with starting this business and starting this company, you know what I mean, that could be just a start. And whoever's listening, and the brother with the trucking, and whoever else, you understand what I'm saying, like just start to build our own empire so that we can use resources to uplift and hold our own banks, our own everything.
And see, here's
That's
the
the key,
one,
man.
here's the number one thing. One, we left out the hero's journey for black boys. The hero's journey. If you look at Star Wars, the way it was for Luke Skywalker, What happened when he first fought Darth Vader? He got his ass handed to him. He had his ass. He got his ass handed to him. He had to go back through the crucible. He had to go back.
He
And
lost a hand.
he lost a hand. He was demoralized. He had to literally face the number one motherfucker in the universe. He had to face his greatest fear, his father.
Especially when Vader revealed to himself that he was his father. He's like, no! I mean, imagine that. What a head fuck.
Your own father is the scourge of the goddamn galaxy. Not only that, he chopped off your fucking hand. And then you had to come back and through all your calmness. And when you finally went over that hurdle, you had to choose peace over death. And it's funny because we don't have that crucible for young black men. We don't have that place where young black men can grow. First with their fathers, and first with competing men, and second with the competing men of the community, where they can learn. This is the reason why places like the Boy Scouts and wrestling clubs and boxing gyms and MMA gyms, kung fu studios and places like this were so fucking important, because you learned how to work together as men without the interference of women. And I'm not on no women bashing shit, but trust me, a lot of my female listeners feel me on this one. They love it when they see black men organize and there's no bullshit. There's no drama. Everybody's working to a goal. Everybody's playing their role. The goddamn nose tackle should not be up there where the safety is.
Mm-hmm.
The cornerback should not be the fucking linebacker. The quarterback should not be in the slot receiver position.
Ed Reed should not be in Ray Lewis's position and vice versa.
Exactly. So we need to actually stop. Well, number one, we need to
Play your
get rid of
position, fellas.
you gotta play your positions. We gotta stop being afraid of fucking hierarchy. We have to stop being afraid of hierarchy. That's one. We have to admit that there's some people that are gonna be better than us in certain positions. You gotta admit that shit sometimes. People hate to
Yeah, but we gotta. So
congratulate.
how do we mitigate the ego? You understand what I'm saying? Like for real, because that's the conquer and divide. I honestly feel, you know what I mean, our young boys, or even young boys that turn into adult men. Like for real, egos get involved. You understand? Like
Well,
okay,
the reason why a lot of egos get involved is because one, you got to remember, like Sharpazar Lee said, the problems of raising black boys or any boys in an organization is that they learn from women how to be fucking catty. That shit goes for women. It doesn't work well for men. And what happens is when you're in men and you're surrounded by older men and men of the age group, such as like wrestling, why didn't, and I'm going to answer your question with a question, even though that's usually not proper, but it's going to put everything in perfect perspective. How many motherfuckers had an ego in that wrestling room?
Everybody.
Oh, you were selfless, actually. How many motherfuckers walked out that wrestling room
nah,
with
that shit was 50-50 though, cuz. I ain't even
Because
gonna lie to you.
you got
What
to
was
remember.
it?
You got to
I
remember.
would know.
You got to remember. There are times like, hold on, somebody got back.
Oh, sorry.
I think what Charles is saying, right, is everybody probably had that moment of a tussle. And you knew your ability You have the idea of the ability of the other person, rather a tussle, or argument, or a tough contender per se. Charles is saying, yeah, no, you know what I mean? It shouldn't, correct me if I'm wrong, Charles, like, no emotion shouldn't be involved or whatnot. But
I'm gonna put it to you this
I
way.
think by natural default, let me get it off right quick, and I promise I'll shut up. We just, by default, I don't understand the by default of it. And Charles, I know you're gonna elaborate on it. By default, we kind of think about, you know what I mean, moving forward, unless it's sudden that we have to, act upon.
I'm gonna say this. The example I was given in the wrestling room is because one, you could come in there any time of day thinking you the baddest motherfucker walking terra firma, and somehow, some way, you're gonna get your ass handed to you with that attitude. Whether it was Brown, whether it was me, whether it was you, whether it was anybody. There was somebody to. There were days you were the hammer, and there were days you were the nail, because that's how hard we trained. It was an 85-degree room with sweats, head to toe sweats,
Yeah.
and it kicked. The room itself kicked your ass. There are people who couldn't take it, and guess what? They couldn't take the fucking heat, literally, and had to leave the room. When you have to run and you increase your core temperature, when you had to go against, literally, in that room at one point, you had some of the best wrestlers in the state, and at some point they were comparable to anybody in the fucking country at some points. So you're going against top level competition. Check your egos at the door and whatever other body parts you want. That's the reason why combat sports are important for masculine growth. Because guess what? You come in there thinking you're the baddest motherfucker, but you will be humbled very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we talk about. Like, you're right, Raymond. That's brotherhood. Why? You got to see if you could compete with the other men. Are you a lion? Or are you sheep? Because sheep get eaten by lions.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no, and the reason why I say you got to tear the children, the boys, away from the mothers at a certain age, because after that age, which is usually 10, hell, I'll even go as low as 7. After that age, all the stuff the mother does not benefit that child. It starts to hinder, because when he's not around men, he's not going to take as many risks. He's not going to say, hey, I need to come out there. I need to come out there and I need to do my best. Because your mother will always accept your mediocrity, but your father's going to accept your best. Go ahead.
No, they'll push you to strive for your best. Dad's always going to push you to strive for your best. But then again, I remember we didn't have like a nurture. We didn't have like wrestling matches or whatnot, but there was boxing. There was taekwondo dojos and karate Shotokan dojos as well. So there was that brotherhood in there. Most guys, they also had the brotherhood through team sports like basketball and volleyball and soccer, because it brought everybody together. But also you have some guys getting involved in bodybuilding and stuff. So, but also realize one thing. And Charles, I hope you can understand. If you remember Robin Harris, because I remember both Field Master Ron Wills and also BJS had mentioned a Robin Harris joke about you arguing with a man. First of all, what made you think that you were dealing with a man? First of all, that was your first mistake. Hell, for a lot of us, we fail to realize some of the women that are acting out of pocket and everything. What made us think that we were dealing with women, with actual women to begin with? Oh yeah, Rob Marsh, good point.
Hell yeah.
Oh wow.
I thought I was nice too, so Brown got a hold of my black ass.
Yo bought me up in front of everybody that was waiting on the bus outside of the school. Thought I was tough as Dundada. He was waiting, calculated. Gotcha, bitch. But it was humble
Hey
pie,
Charles,
but it was a learning lesson.
Yeah, you and that's what. And
Charles, I gotta ask you a question.
I'm gonna say this before you ask your question. That's
Okay.
one of the biggest lessons that young men nowadays lack
Hmm.
is the respect of that older man. See, I live by a very custom because we're 40, we're 82 babies, we're 40 now. On
Hmm.
Namer, he's 82, but his birthday's in September,
You
so he'll
didn't
be
have
40.
to put that out in the world, brother. But go ahead.
Shut
40
up,
is
40.
40.
40 is a good age. You're
I'm not ashamed
experiencing
of it.
you're experienced enough
I'm
to
not
know what you're
ashamed of
doing.
turning 40.
Still
What are you
young
talking
enough to
about,
do
Biggs?
it. Take it how you beat it. And you
Yeah.
got to understand something. We're still relatively young men, but we're also elders to the teenagers and 20-year-olds. And think about it. I've always lived by this one saying: fear the old man in a profession where the good die young. He's old for a
Ooh.
reason. He's old for a reason now. And you got to think about it. Not too many guys even think about it. Even not in competition shape. I'm wrestling with a heavyweight who was number two in the nation and holding my own. And he was like, "Good God." He even said if I was in competition shape, he couldn't even touch me.
Mm.
So you gotta give yourself credit because it's your job to teach respect to the youth, whether it's through your words or through your actions.
Hmm.
You always have to give back. See, the purpose of the hero's journey is for the boy to be nurtured and taught the ways of the world by his parents.
Hmm.
He has to go out from the comfort of his parental home and go seek out a master. After he seeks out that master, he has to show he's proficient. And once he's proficient, he has to go out there and he has to prove that he can defend himself, take care of himself,
Hmm.
and also maintain himself. You know
Hmm.
what, that guy, after he has something, because a man ain't worth shit till he got something to maintain, protect, and create and destroy, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Hmm.
So once that man becomes efficient, effective, provider, problem solver, and lover of culture and people, now he must take on the job of picking his own student to teach and cultivate.
And that
Be-
has been happening, though, Sim. Like, to the point of when these young boys get off the titty. You understand what I'm saying? They have had, some has had the nurturance of what you're talking about. Some has had the nurturance of, okay, I can go do this and go back to the titty. You understand what I'm saying? And it's all about how the young person develops what they think the value. You understand what I'm saying is. You dig what I'm saying? Like, for real, for real. Me personally, I have grew up, and I think everybody on this panel have grew up with influence of music, influence of, what's in front of you, TV. You understand what I'm saying? Influence of what was in front of you, of what was
Hmm.
around you that people emulated, i.e., music, TV. You understand what I'm saying? Like, for real, for real. So when your brain is still formulating as a young person, you're going to, by how I feel, just in my situation, by default, you're going to be a whole dickhead. You understand what I'm saying? Like, for real, for real. Even with the structure, I had a mother and a father. I have, excuse me, a mother and a father. You understand what I'm saying? Like, but that's some bitch ass, clown ass shit. You dig what I'm saying? Like, for real, for real. We got to put it out there some type of way that it's okay to be like, all right, y'all niggas doing that, y'all niggas going to jail, y'all niggas going, whatever, so this and that. Like for real. I have cats to this day that I grew up with outside of Charles. Growing up in the trap, the trenches, or whatever, however, people can't identify. And they be like, bro, yo, you always was solid, bro. You seen you learned from other motherfuckers fuck ups. And you ain't do that. You dig what I'm saying? Like for real, for real. Like that's one thing that was instilled in me from my parents. Learn from other people's mistakes. You understand what I'm saying? Like for real, for real. Evaluate the situation and put yourself in that situation if that was you in a terrible, you see what I'm saying, situation. Even when you get 24, yeah, I'm 40, you get 44, 64, so on and so forth. Like for real, always just evaluate it and put yourself in a shitty situation, not physically, like in the current moment, but just and put yourself in a situation that you see. Like pay attention to everything that's around you. You understand what I'm saying? Like for real, for real. We gotta start teaching our kids an open mind frame. Yes, go like this and do like this because you'll be successful. But when they get older, you understand what I'm saying? Like we gotta learn to teach to adjust to life. Like I have a whole 18-year-old. This nigga paid for cash money. Paid for. No nothing. I'm not saying it like, oh, I'm trying to avoid child support, but for the people in the back who understand what the fuck I'm talking about, this nigga paid for cash money. And he a whole dickhead. Got cases, everything. Like everything. Like straight up. Like for real. I ain't live my life that way. Did I grow up that way? Hell yeah. I just chose different. Now I get, yeah, Pop, damn, you was right. Yeah, Pop, this. Yeah, Pop. You see what I'm saying? That all we can do is just plant the flowers, plant the tomatoes the way they're supposed to be planted, weed out, you see what I'm saying? The mouse, the field mouse, and this and all that for real, and hope that it grow and continue to sun it, literally the sun, water it, you see what I'm saying, nurture it, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
what comes from it is what comes from it because me, honestly, I'm not real big Bible based, but we got free will at the end of the goddamn day. You understand what I'm saying? To
Yeah.
go down any road that we turn to go down. You understand what I'm saying? Like for real, for real.
Mhm.
So
Choose
And
what.
what I wanted to say was, if I may,
Go ahead.
first of all, I wanted to address something that South Shaolin said. You're 50. Well, congratulations, brother. Me, I'm about to turn 40, but I wasn't complaining about it. I'm gonna turn 40, and I'm looking forward to it. In fact, I'm embracing the grave. Hell, I'm gonna look at it this way. Like when people say you over the hill,
yeah,
I always said it like this. If you when it comes to being over the hill, there's only two ways to look at it. Either you can deny it, and you can end up having your foot in your mouth, and you're gonna stumble, fumble, fall, and roll down that hill. Or you can learn to have fun with it and
mm,
embrace it, like going downhill like a 6-year-old in a soapbox car. If anybody knows what soapbox cars are,
mm.
or maybe it's
That's
just me
dope.
for who understands what a
That's
soapbox
dope.
car is.
That's super dope. That's super dope. Go ahead, though.
I think you're
So I'm gonna
absolutely
say
right.
you gotta embrace. Hmm? Go ahead,
No,
electrician.
you're absolutely right. I mean, and I think AO he can attest to this as well. Is that the older you get,
Hmm.
the better it gets. And the thing that's the beauty of us about being men. The older you get, the more wiser you get. The brother, I didn't catch his name, but it was just mentioned. He was like, "Damn, pops, you was right. He was right on this." And
Yeah.
when you escape that era, and I can't see. I'm a 72's baby, so y'all talk about 82. I'm 72. So uh, the thing is,
That's
coming
what's
up to
up.
that,
You got a
Happy
decade
yeah,
on me, baby. Talk your talk, sure. Go ahead.
Talk your
yeah,
talk.
man, just coming up to that crack era, man. I seen my boys in the neighborhood that I grew up, they all got tagged. cats was going to school, who I was going to high school with. Man, it was just like that. They was catching cases. Some got federal cases. Some ain't never coming home because kind of the weight they was pushing. But anyway, my father, if it wasn't for my father being there and him just sitting me down, he said, "Man, look, I know you love this money. I know you love to make money, but this ain't the way to do it." And he started grooming me and saying to me, "Look, I know you like to work with your hands. You need to get in the trade." I was like 15, 16 years old at the time. And then by the time I was 20, I was an apprentice. And man, I never looked back. Well, and while the guys out back in '93, they was out there.
Talk
They was out there doing that stuff, man. But I was making my money. And the good thing is that, here I come from the bar. We at the bar, and they talking about, they done made them, they made $2,000-3,000 in a day. Well, it may have taken me about make 4,000 or 5,000 in a week, but
So
that was
what?
okay. That was my
Talk,
money.
yo,
That was my money.
talk,
Hey,
talk,
280.
hold up. Let
I'm
him
gonna say
finish talking this shit. Let him finish
yo,
talking this
talk.
shit.
Okay?
I
They
mean,
still hear you
and
though.
is he
another thing
done?
I
Wait,
wanted to
my
allude
bad.
to, just one other thing, and I'm gonna step back. Another thing that I think as us as black men, we need to really, really, really get back to is a brotherhood. We
Yep.
need to get back to a
Can you say
brotherhood.
that again for the niggas in the back who didn't hear
Mm-hmm.
you playing
We
with those paper
we as
airplanes?
black we as black men
Yes.
need to get back to a
Mm-hmm.
brotherhood for life.
Yes.
If a brother goes down, is what? How do you say it, Charles? My champion. My what? How do you say it, Charles?
It's my brother, and
Hmm.
God bless that I trademarked this shit. I want everybody in the chat. Somebody need to write this shit down in the chat. My brother,
Nah.
my champion, my savior.
And after
Facts.
you type that title, whoa, like for real, because
Oh,
yo, it is super dope. Like that shit is refreshing. Like that. Oh my god. Like that is honestly why me and C Lockner. I call him C. I call him Monk. You know what I mean. Like that's my brother. Like we hold each other down. Like we got to have that establishment. And just thinking about growing up, niggas ain't had that. Niggas didn't
Too
have
much.
that. It was just like, okay, all right, I'm gonna fuck with bro because I can do this over here and that over there, or so on and so forth. No, forget all of that, man. We got to really brotherhood, fellowship,
Man.
embracing one another
Facts.
through whatever each one of us is going through, man. That shit is strong. That shit is powerful. It helps us through the abnormalness that we think because we don't have that brotherhood to support.
and you got to remember, when you have a brotherhood, you're only as strong as the army that's fighting behind you.
Yes.
I'm going to say that again for the niggas who didn't hear me. You're only as strong as the army that fights behind you. You know why white supremacy is so strong?
Mm.
It's because they got a whole entire army fighting behind them.
Guess what? Brotherhood ain't got no color. They
It
have
doesn't. It
brother.
doesn't have. And let me finish because
They have
I'm gonna
brother.
get to that shit. Because the guy who's the trainer, oh, he's looking out for your boy, and I'm getting plenty of love from a guy who's a white guy, and we sit back and talk, and he's a fellow veteran, a fellow army vet himself. But guess what? Remember, white supremacy is not just for white people because the kid who shot up that school in Uvalde was Hispanic, but
Yep.
he followed a what? A white supremacist ideology.
Yep.
See, he was part of their soldiers. Where's ours?
We have to start saying
You have to get your allies, whether they're black men,
which is true.
even though this black man is true, all of them. Predominantly, I got to speak to my people before I speak to anybody else's because
Yep.
guess what? First, everybody else going. But guess what? I got love for my white subscribers too. I got love for my Asian subscribers. I
It's
got love
love
for my
all the
everything.
way
I got
across, man.
love. And
Yo,
see,
it's empowerment and
yeah,
brotherhood.
think about
Period.
it. I was talking about men's rights before there was a fucking a a Black Manosphere 2.0 with the snowman.
Mhm.
And guess what? Michael Shanahan is a white guy. Obviously, myself and the snowman are black, but guess what you find out when you talk about men's rights? That we're going through the same shit.
But it's
Yep.
okay to learn from others
Yep.
to unite
Exactly.
our
Yep.
people to be a bigger thing. You understand what I'm saying?
You
Like,
should
for
be,
real. That's the goal.
you should never be ashamed to be for your people, especially when you want to see your people grow. Just because I want my people to grow does not mean I want to enslave anybody else.
Look, fellas,
You know
I
what, Charles?
just go ahead,
Hold on,
bro.
Biggs. Hold on, Biggs.
No, go ahead.
I don't know if you realize, like, you talked about the first real Americans were black, were ADOS folks, right? Did it ever
Mhm.
occur to you that maybe the first men's rights activists were black men?
Yeah.
Because who else, black men, know what it's like to be dispossessed, disenfranchised, disillusioned with the world. And you guys have been made the scapegoats, the whipping boys, the boogeyman
Yeah.
of it all.
You got to
No one
realize.
knows. No one knows it's like to be dehumanized. Excuse me, more than black men. And that's not just here. I'm not just talking to the States. Worldwide, no matter where in the world you are, no matter your nationality, ethnicity, nothing. You black, you're a black male. You understand the world's gonna always perceive you a certain way, no matter where you go.
Exactly. Rather they treat you good, praise you if you're overseas, Asian, Hawaiian, whatever, or just being in the U.S. when we were deported too. You understand what I'm saying? Like, for real. To piggyback off of what you're talking about, it's all about how we embrace and not embrace when it's good, and how we react when it's bad. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I am, bro. I Charles, no, like, for real, is such a fine line between being, oh yeah, I know he was gonna be a whole nigga, and oh shit, he ain't a whole nigga. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's that defined line still to this day. You understand what I'm saying? Like, for real. But we got to learn to teach our young boys how to understand the society moving forward.
Well, you got to realize something. That's why I'm starting the multifaceted man movement. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It is okay to be an anime fan, a comic book fan, a football fan, a wrestling fan, both pro and collegiate. It's
You be a
okay to
Steve Harvey
be an
shit.
MMA fan.
That's cool.
It's okay to dress.
Yes.
It's okay to dress for success. It's okay to wear your Jordans. It's okay to wear your Stacey Adams. It's okay to wear your now later Gators. It's okay to wear your suits. It's okay to be a car guy. It's okay to be a plane guy. It's okay to be a tech guy. It's okay to be a fucking baker. It's okay to be an electrician. It's okay to be a trucker. It's okay to be a corporate man. It's okay to be a policeman, fireman, military man. It's as long as you're being a goddamn man.
Get your money
Period.
It's
legally, bro.
okay to listen to country or rock and roll for that matter, as well as hip hop
It's okay to
or
listen to
R&B.
country.
It's okay
It's
to love
okay to listen
classical
to
music.
old school soul. It's okay to listen to classical. See, what we need to do is appreciate black men for being something that God intended men to be. It's that unfathomable fucking awesomeness. You can't describe it. You can only witness it. And that being multifaceted is that you got men, all walks of life, appreciating themselves. You got men. Guess what? You could be great. Don't do your greatness to get girls. Be great because it's just a byproduct of you doing your shit well. See, we need to stop trying to be something that media image wants you to be and make your life fruitful. Fruitful. You got men of trades, men of high education, even the man who's just a regular old town hardworking man is still credited and can teach something,
Yeah.
anything. Guess what? Some of the most intelligent people I've made never stepped foot in a fucking college.
Facts.
Some of these motherfuckers, you got to remember, your grandpa and grandma had a eighth grade, sixth grade education, but guess what?
One
They were like
was.
they were like an old broom. They may not swept up the floor as good as a new one, but they already know where the dirt was.
One was.
Mm.
One was.
Guess what?
Staple of the
I-
U.S. One
tell
was.
me, tell me a better generation than the silent generation and the boomers.
How we fly planes with a sixth grade education. Somebody remedy me that answer.
You got to remember,
Can somebody do that for me?
we fly planes with a sixth grade education because you know what? We were blessed with the divine intervention of intelligence.
And sixth grade education was all alleged.
Try being a translator of multiple languages at a fourth grade education.
Talk your shit.
And
Mm.
the fourth, hold on. And the fourth grade education was by design, because especially because I come from Africa, and my grandparents' generation, my great grandparents' generation, they
Your shit.
were only allowed to learn on a fourth grade level because
Hmm?
colonizers wanted them to be obedient workers, smart enough to operate the machines, but not smart enough to question things.
Talk.
But a lot of them
Yeah.
were still questioning things because they wanted freedom. They were sick of being under the yoke of the white man in
Mhm.
their homeland.
And
And
trust
the
me, trust
homeland.
me.
Hold on. I'ma dive in. Right? The homeland,
All
right?
right.
That was stolen. They only imitated us. We already know that, but I was waiting for Charles to do some special effects of boo, pow, special effects. Like for real. It's the fact of like we have to stop ignoring the fact.
What are you talking about?
We have to stop when I'm talking about we have there you go, Charles. We have to stop ignoring the fact that we are being copied. We're being duplicated over and over and over and over since the
We're being imitated, not duplicated, because if they could duplicate it,
okay, imitated, duplicated. My fault for using my words the wrong way. Oh, but not thank you.
you
Like
know,
for real.
you got
You know what I mean?
you
But
got Target versus the Dollar Tree is a hell of a difference.
yeah, so no, and you're right. You understand what I'm saying? That's why I said thank you for the correction. My point that I'm trying to get across is just like we have to embrace our us. Like for real, they are doing nothing but what we do naturally. Period. Point blank. So why not capitalize and do what we need to do?
Hey,
Empowerment, my brothers. Empowerment.
as long as it's not empowering Temple, you could keep that Jamal Bryant
Hell no,
bullshit.
I definitely ain't on no goddamn Jamal Bryant shit. Hell no, because this nigga ain't doing it but fucking hoes and taking tickets. Fucking hoes and taking tickets. No, I'm just trying to keep it, you know what I mean? Like the true definition of empowering, man. Like our young people, our old people, just whoever. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, let's just get us up out of, okay, we gotta, we can do our own thing. We ain't gotta work for nobody. We can do our own thing. Like, just whatever you're good at, do it and capitalize on it. Like, period. It's that simple. It really is that simple. If you sit down and you just remove everything of what society is and what people think and yada 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 yada, the white man, like if you remove all of that, you can be successful, man. You can be successful. Our black boys and black girls ain't gotta be, our girls ain't gotta be thoughts and hoes, and our black boys ain't gotta be pimps or traps or, you know what I mean, hitters. Like, for real, is it going to be that? Yes. Free will. But if we can implement the good of what we can do, I feel as though that it'll be a balance because we all got blessed and granted with free will.
Right about that. I give you, we do have free will. And I also think, as far as empowerment and going back to the brotherhood, I'm gonna say this, and I know this may not sound, this is a little different, but I believe that we as black men, we need to have a constitution amongst each other. How we associate with one another, how we address one another, how we affiliate ourselves with one another, and have a set of rules and guidelines. Because this is what men do. Okay, so I'm from Detroit, Charles is from Baltimore, but because we have a constitution, we know how to we know how to communicate with one another. We know what's expected out of each other, and if we can transform that scenario, now we can transform it into business. Now we can transform it into politics. Because let's be honest, let's just be quite frank and honest about it. Like I said last night, every time black men were ready to step up and ready to get something, okay, we were always hoodwinked. I was reading something the other day. I was just reading something today.
Take away the
Uh,
chair, brother. You ain't never
all
lied.
the time. So during the Reconstruction era, right? We got black judges, we got congressmen. We teachers. We just coming out of the woodworks like roaches. All right, we coming out. And the thing about it is, this is how the Ku Klux Klan got formed, is because they felt threatened, right? It's not only because of our success that we were having, but they were threatened because, wait a minute, these niggas are over here they gonna take our white women. They need to be under control. Their women need to be controlling them. And see, the thing is, with all these fucked up ass tropes and everything about us, it's unfortunately that our women from our community have taken on the white racist uh, trademarks, and they beating us, browbeating us. They've been doing it for the last almost 60 years, since the 60s. They've been doing this. And it's like we always say, we done heard about how bad we are through all the talk shows through the 80s and the 90s, through the new millennium. We've been hearing how bad we are, how fucked up we are, and we are saying enough is enough, and that's why we're giving this pushback. And then you got a lot of these simp motherfuckers out here who were like, no, that's not how it's supposed to be. The women, no, 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 bro. Nah, bro. Look at our society when our government has allowed the women to run our homes. Boys can't even read at a seventh at their grade levels across the nation. Okay, across the nation. The state of California, they said something like 70% of young black boys couldn't even read at their equivalent level. That's what happens when you allow white folks to get in our business and allow black women to run things. Because it's like you guys said, our mothers will settle for, well, at least he's got his diploma. Daddy be like, hell no, I want you better than just sliding by, just getting out of high school. I need you to get them grades up from that 2.0 to that 3.5. That's the difference. And when you exclude daddy out of the equation of family, you have nothing but chaos and destruction. Look at all our cities. Look at everywhere we live. All the little so-called gangsters, they ran from with women-led homes. And this is what we need to do. We need to take back. Hey, and the pushback ain't gonna be easy. Hey, in the Bible it says the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, but the violent take it back by force. And that's what we need to do. That's what we really need to do.
That was fire, bro.
And I don't know if I could top that shit right there. I'm gonna tell you. You know what? Because I actually own the trademark too. My brother, my champion, my savior, and also the goddamn law. I need some shirts made so I can produce this shit, and well, the proceeds to go to this training and also to this company. I'm gonna look into that shit very
But
well.
Charles, you didn't hear him a little while ago. He said we need a code of conduct, rules, and all
Oh,
this
I
and
heard
that.
him. I heard
You
him.
already wrote. You already wrote this, sir. It's called the Great Faulkner Initiative. And
Oh
if you
yes,
read it, or you read Angry Man's little 12-step process or whatnot, these two dudes, they done wrote some stuff and put some stuff out, and then we got authors in this space who wrote stuff. You know what I'm saying?
the
Shout
professor.
out to Grant.
Shout
I
out to
never go through.
shout out to the professor Cerulean Gray. My
Yeah,
partner prime with that shit. You got a bunch of brilliant motherfuckers who can write a constitution, a confederation, a true confederation.
regular, multifaceted men.
Because
Not superhuman, just normal, but understand.
but
They
see,
have understanding.
when times and trouble happen, you didn't look for a Superman. You look for a goddamn man. See, I've told women who were so educated before, your education don't mean shit when shit goes bad. You ain't looking for the check if a nigga got a fucking PhD. You checking to see if he can rescue ME. Okay? Can you rescue me? We'll talk about that PhD later. But
Right.
sometimes that guy with the PhD is just as ruthless and just as hard as a fighter as the next Negro. Just like I said before with that chick who snubbed that nuclear physicist. She didn't know a good thing when she seen it. Yes, they were mismatched, but guess what? A good woman would have molded herself to that man because she knows she had a winner. She knew she had a provider and a protector. See, 10 years from now, when she gets a little bit of wisdom, she's going to know what she passed up because
But
she's
she'll
not going to
regret it.
get those offers. She's going to regret it because she knows she's not going to get those offers. Well, that's you got to get. That's your fault. And see, it gets to the point where men could not understand when I came up with my brother, my champion, my savior. That credo's right there. If you taught that to little boys when they're in kindergarten of how to respect each other, think about it. Did you know there were Masons, white and black at the time, way back in
God
the day?
bless my brother, our brother Leon. I never understood the Messianic brotherhood. Can somebody elaborate?
And one thing about it, hey, we saw a good showing when his funeral, didn't we?
It's a
And,
fat baby heaven, but I
exactly.
want the true definition of like.
And see, I don't know it, and I'm not going to speak on it because I'm not privy to that information, and I'm not going to disrespect the order. But that Mason, there were times when you had blacks discriminated against, and he was like, "Look," and the white guy was there. That's my brother. I got to protect him. See, where's we got like you said, electrician. We got to make a Articles of Confederation. We got to make a constitution in this space of how to treat each other. See, and the women should support it. You know why? When you get a better black man, that means you get a better protector, you get a better provider, you get a better
Yes,
husband,
sir.
you get a better
Yes,
group of
sir.
fathers. Why don't you support your men becoming better? Because you benefit. Your children benefit. Your grandchildren benefit. Put your goddamn money where your mouth is. Support your content creators. There should be a motherfucker that you set aside $20, set aside $40 for your favorite content creator who speaks up for you, who can articulate things in ways that you know your mind has grown static, who motivates you to be a better you. Sometimes you gotta be a little fucking arrogant, black man. I'm gonna say that again for the niggas in the back who didn't hear me. Sometimes you gotta be a little arrogant. Tell me what other man that fucking took the fucking treatment you got for 500 years.
Don't forget cocky, Charles.
You
Got to
got
be
cocky.
cocky while you're
You
being
gotta be
arrogant.
cocky.
Goddamn it.
How many
And don't
motherfuckers?
forget the trifecta. Walk around with your asshole shield on your chest like you're strong. Goddamn.
Man, you
You got to be an
That-
asshole.
you walk
to get
around like
to
you walk around like your
yes,
dick
sir.
is like a fire hose. You walk around like your testicles are bowling balls. See, you should wake up every day and look at the troubles you have in life. Look at the trials you go through. And each time you wake up, what fucking consequence are you to me now? That's what you should say to every damn thing that opposes your existence. What consequence are you to me now? You are no longer my fucking equal. See, it's okay. See, I don't believe that black men should be humble. You should be grateful, but you shouldn't be humble. There's times you can be a little humble, but there's times you got to rock out with your cock out. You got to be the man. See, a lot of us as black men, a lot of us, because we went through some traumatic shit through divorce, through child custody, through jobs, careers, college, that treated us wrong. But I'm here to tell you, for somebody who needs to hear this shit, tomorrow is a better day. Tomorrow is going to be a better day. There's probably men out there who probably want to take their own goddamn life because they're so fucking disenfranchised and discombobulated. I'm here to tell you, don't do it. Tomorrow's a better fucking day. I may not be where I want to be right now, but god damn it, see me in a week. See me in a month. See me in a year. See me in 5 years, 10 years, 100,000 years if it takes it. That's the attitude every black man should have. You know what Brown said? Don't let me survive. You can whoop my ass for 5 minutes and 57 seconds. Actually, 58 seconds. Because all I need is 2 seconds to pin you. Tell me if that's not a mentality black men should get.
All you need is just a shot. That's all you need.
Don't trust me. Trust me, Durham was there when I won my first championship, and it shocked the shit out of me. It shocked everybody. Like, oh shit, I'm in the finals. Oh shit. All I needed, we went to triple overtime. You wrestle a motherfucker for damn near 10 to 12 minutes. See how you tired. Think about it. Everybody kept encouraging me. Take one more step. One more step. He's stalling. They call one step. One step. Just taking one step forward won me a championship. Stop being the motherfucker not willing to take one step to glory. You goddamn right, Marcus Vaughn. Build yourself up brick by brick, mortar by mortar, wire by wire, step by step. Get the fuck out there and be great. Get out there and be great. Fucking
Charles is all about. Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
Go
I
ahead.
was
Go
gonna say I was gonna say is it's about striving for greatness and excellence. And again, it just goes back to men leading the community, and particularly with young black boys in our community, to strive for excellence. We're not looking for mediocre, because mediocre, see, we can see what mediocre gets you. Okay, I don't care if the teacher said, well, he has a learning disability. I don't care if they say, well, he can't. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's when a father takes on the responsibility on his children, right, and said, you will do this. You can do this. You can do this. And we don't have enough of that. We need, and that even look, I don't have a child to my name, but if I see my nephews, if they hey man, you can do this. Come on, let's do this. You can do this. Wipe them tears. Come on, we gonna get this. You got this. And the thing about it, it builds confidence. In our community, it just seems as though a lot of us lack a lot of confidence. And we need that confidence. Like you said, you need to walk like, hey, put your ass on your shoulders and say, I got this. I am that motherfucker. I am smart. I'm highly intelligent. Okay. Because what happens is when you believe in yourself, it doesn't matter what other people say. We've had all kind of shit, like you said, that have been thrown at us for 500 years. And guess what? We are still fucking here.
Yep. Self
We're
empowerment. I
still
said
here.
empowerment. Empowerment is empowerment. Yes, brothers. Y'all are saying that. Thank you. Keep talking how y'all talking.
We are still fucking here. We are still on top of the fucking hill.
Needing by.
Motherfuckers didn't throw all kind of shit at us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we're still fucking here.
Mm-hmm.
They had to write what they had to write up in the paper that, well, because black men have been displaced in the jobs, that the United States economy lost 50 billion. That was $50 billion that we could have, if we would have been able to get them jobs.
It would have been $50 billion that would have
So
increased
catch.
to
So
our
catch
country
up. The
just out of
We
whatever the average was per job, whatever the average was per job, let's just start our own shit and do our own thing. Because guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna hire us. They're gonna employ us and work us and so on and so forth, just like they deported us from our homeland. So let's just start really fucking capitalizing and making money off the shit, bro.
I'm gonna tell you now, that's what I'm doing now. But guess what?
Ownership, bro.
I, I'm gonna tell you what, I'm doing that shit now. But like
Ownership.
Dr. King said back in the day, we still
Ownership.
going to Washington to get our motherfucking check.
Man, whatever everybody is on this panel, what everybody, whoever is listening, whatever the fuck you get at, man, do that shit to the highest capacity and find a little niche. Find fucking Waldo of your niche and do what you do and get paid off of it by yourself. You understand what I'm saying? Like, yo, just step out on faith, man. We've been here off of faith, for Christ's sakes. Straight off of faith. Like, man, do that shit. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired of the same rigmarole. Like, for real, well, we can't do this because of this. We can't do that because of that. Like, man, fuck that, man. Like, brother who said, oh, y'all niggas was in 82. I'm born 72. Bro, just the fact of the knowledge that you have, the 10-year gap, and then the knowledge that we have or the tools that we have, like, man, let's fucking capitalize and take the fuck over. Whoever want to listen and get down or lay down and, you know what I mean, whatever, all right, that's cool. But let's just, God always take the people that fuck with him. And I use God and cuss at the same time, but I hope I'm making sense. Like for real, let's just get the people that's really trying to, you know what I mean, run it up the right way, man. Like let's just run that up. Let's run it up, fellas. Like for real, that shit is going to flourish. It's going to flourish. Whatever it is that whatever somebody's doing, supervisors at, or just gung ho of being very proficient at whatever it is that you do. Like for real, that shit could be hospitality, that could be, mechanics, it could be any goddamn thing. Just if you good at that shit, man, make that shit your own. Make it your own. Make it your own. Make it your own. And motherfuckers worry about you coming to work and oh, this motherfucker don't come to work. Nigga, you know you the shit. Try to put a business plan to that shit or research business plans of what you good at. You gotta start making shit our own, bro. Like for real, we gotta start thinking outside the box, opposed to just getting that gig or just you see what I'm saying. Not saying there ain't nothing wrong with getting that gig or getting that job or you know what I mean, career based, whatever, so on and so forth. Man, yo, the sky's the limit because we are the. Excuse me, I work for the feds, but we the minimum qualification, bro. Flat out. And minimum qualification, I'm not using that in a very negative way. I'm using it in a very positive way. We the men quals, bro. Like for real, like if they can't do it, because they don't want to do it, nor do they know how to do it, what we do, whatever it is that we do. Like, come on, man. We gotta Black Wall Street this shit again, man. We got to.
Facts,
We have
facts,
no
facts,
other fucking choice but to do that shit.
facts. That's facts, bro. I mean, the thing about it is again, as we flourished, and when you could talk about Tulsa, Oklahoma, we flourished. I mean, and we flourished so much that when the white guys was coming back for World War I, they were disenfranchised, no jobs, and they saw, and I hate to say it like that, they saw a whole lot of niggas getting have
Did
success,
you do
and
your
they
research?
hated it.
Did you do your research of the migration of Tulsa, Oklahoma, of where shit came from? Because I haven't done that. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying that Tulsa, Oklahoma didn't have or born bred or born raised or none of that. But I know back and well, I don't know anything because I didn't grow up. You understand what I'm saying with that? But there had to be people coming from this part and this
No
part
doubt,
and that part
man,
and like,
bro.
am I talking crazy or nah, bro?
No, no, you're not, man. Listen, check this out. You had there was a teacher. It was a sister, right? And she was from New Jersey because they had a lot of affiliations and everything. And she was writing letters to some of the people down in Tulsa. They like, hey, you need to come out. It were people who were moving from New York, New Jersey, Chicago, just to get down to Tulsa, Oklahoma, because they was having that much success. I
See,
mean, there were streets where you had dentists. There were streets where you had lawyers, accountants, doctors.
talk, talk, please talk, please talk. Go,
Okay,
go, go. Please
and
keep, please
you
keep,
had your gangsters. Okay, you
keep
had
on,
black
keep on,
folks. You
keep
had
on,
black folks in the oil
keep on,
business.
keep on, please.
Okay, and these people, and when these white boys came home from World War I with no jobs, and all the brothers got and the sisters, mind you, had all the work and getting successful, they hated it.
Hold on, but when they
Hated
came
it.
home, hold on, but when they came home from World War I, did they come home defeated or not?
They was defeated. What
Thank
defeated
you,
them,
thank,
yes, what
thank you,
defeated them really is to see black folks who are doing better than them.
thank you.
And this is what caused the race riot, right? How the hell do you have a government who
Thank
comes
you.
in and drop bombs on your own citizens?
Hey,
Hmm?
Come on. Come on. Come on, brother.
Every time, again, let me say this once again. Let's go back to the first true, the true, where the true nature of the civil rights movement was born is out of Reconstruction.
Hmm. Hmm.
We were landowners. How do you have 4 million land, 4 million acres of land? Now black folks only own 1 million acres of land, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
I give you an interesting story about that. And I'm gonna stick to that because I'm gonna get on a little bit in my own family history. When so many greats, grandfather came home, Anderson Branch came home from the Civil War. He went back down to Woodville, Mississippi, to
Hmm.
to purchase land so he could start growing produce.
Crops.
No different, no different than a lot of other brothers who were in Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, Florida. No different, no different. And the thing about it is, white folks got mad and they ran a lot of black families off. And because a lot of times we didn't have the deeds to those land and they got burned up in the house, well, guess what? We lost that land. Every time, every time in this country that when black people, particularly with black men, are making a step to better ourselves,
Hmm.
we all here come these white folks. Here come these white. Well, let's just be honest. Here come white men. They jealous. They're mad. They're the ones who are disenfranchised. And then once again, there's the lynching, there's the castration, there's the cutting off of the penis, that homoerotic shit. Okay, I encourage everyone to please read the book by Tom Curry, uh, Tommy Curry, The Man Not. He goes through this in detail. But the thing about it is, it's like a story I read about this perfect little town. Everybody was happy, everybody was jolly, but they had one little secret. And I said, we got to show you this secret. And they had a child locked up, caged up. And every so often they would beat this child because we got to have a boogeyman, right? See, black men in America, we're the so called alleged boogeyman. Even though we're the most laid back, we're the most forthright with women having rights, okay? We're the most, uh, the best parent. We're amongst the best parent for us, as far as fathers. Don't nobody touch us on that. We have better relations with our children, and yet we have a system that doesn't even allow us to even see our children. Every time we take 2 steps forward, they want to knock us back 4 steps. They want to knock us back. We just can't have that no more, and we need to make a major pushback. Yeah, you're right, Dardar. America needs this nigga. I kind of heard what did we say the other day that niggas ain't shit until America says niggas ain't shit until we need you.
Openly, that's the case and scenario. I said this about how black women treat black men. This is how America treats black men. I ain't shit till you need me. I
Yeah,
had
but
it.
my thing about that is right. Yes, you're right. But if it was flip our way,
Hopefully everybody's still here. But we're going to continue this next time. Hopefully everything's coming back. Woo! We out.